Hi everyone, welcome to episode 102 of the XS Noize Podcast. I'm Mark Millar, thanks for listening. In this episode, I speak to Tim Wheeler from Ash about the reissue of their hugely successful and beloved third album, Free All the Angels. If you missed the previous episode, I spoke to multi-talented Midwestern artist Lissy about her new album, Carving Crayons.
Feeling reflective and accepting. And then I have 3 songs about being excited about the future again. And so it followed this arc of grief. But it took me till November of 2020 to the fall of 2021 to write and record this album in little chunks of this process of that grief and loneliness and sort of how I came out the other side of it and wanting to share that with people because I think it's very, very universal.
So check it out. And if you like the podcast, please subscribe for free and share with your friends. If you want up-to-date music news, album reviews and interviews, then check out our main website at xsnoize.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Search for the tag at XS Noize Music. Here's XS Noize writer Daniel Lynch with a taste of what's been on the website this week.
Irish singer-songwriter David Keenan releases his new album, Crude, in November. XS Noize has premiered the latest single from the album, Back to the Pavement. You can listen to it right now and find links to pre-order the album, which is available digitally through Bandcamp and on a limited vinyl release. We also have new music streaming on the site from Lila Vargan and Rebecca Fitch. Joshua Burnside has released a video for his latest single ahead of an EP release in November and an Ulster Hall gig in December. And Bush and Dropkick Murphys both tease upcoming albums with the release of new singles. In the reviews section, Randall Radich has been listening to the third album from the Beths. Expert in a Dying Field gets an 8 out of 10 score from us. David McElroy gives Suede's new album Auto Fiction 8 out of 10 as well. David says the album is an impressive display of the band's longevity, but also full of surprises. You can read the full reviews at xsnoize.com.
Free All the Angels was the third album from Ash. The album reached number 1 in the UK Albums Chart and has since gone on to achieve platinum status. It featured the Ivor Novello award-winning single Shining Light and the NME Single of the Year Burn Baby Burn. In this interview, Tim Wheeler talks about writing and recording the album, their 30th anniversary celebration at Belfast Ulster Hall this December, new music and lots more. So sit back, relax and enjoy the XS Noize Podcast with Tim Wheeler from Ash. Hi Tim, welcome to the XS Noize Podcast.
Great to be here, thanks for having me.
So Ash, you're about to follow up the vinyl reissue of your debut album 1977 with a remastered vinyl reissue of your third album, Free All the Angels, to celebrate the 21st anniversary. Can you believe it's been that long since the album was released?
Not really. Yeah, so in some ways it doesn't feel that long ago, but then when you sort of think of, I don't know, I remember say whenever we were putting out 1977, that was in 1996. So if I sort of thought, think of the things that all that had happened, if I thought of music from 21 years before that, it seemed like forever ago, so I guess it is kind of ancient, but it just doesn't feel like it,
Well, going back to when you were writing it, the mixed reaction to your second studio album, Nuclear Sounds, hit you hard. You went back home to your parents' house in Downpatrick to write material for Free All the Angels. What do you remember about that time, about going back? How did you feel?
Well, I knew we had to dig out something special to sort of get ourselves back on track, and we'd sort of been part of or lumped in a bit of that whole Britpop scene, so that was really, I was kind of on a decline around the time of Nuclear Sound. So, I think that was affecting us as well. And a lot of bands, if you're lucky enough to get another shot at making an album, if it wasn't a success, it probably could have been the end of would have been the end of a career. Cause in those days you'd get dropped if you had 2 flop albums in a row. And then those days, once you got dropped, that was the end of it, things for bands. So, and we were still young, I guess it was probably 2021 maybe when I was writing that album, which is kind of mad to think. But, we just felt like, we were too young to be at the end of our career, so we really dug deep and made sure we had the right songs to come back. And just I really stuck at it until I thought, oh, we've got the right singles here.
And how did you feel a band from Downpatrick being lumped in with the whole Britpop scene?
There was bits of it that just, didn't sit right with us. And also we were like way more American influenced than, I don't know, it sort of, also really Britpop seemed like a real celebration of Englishness. So we just didn't fit with us. And, but, there was like good elements to it. It sort of meant guitar music was all over the mainstream. So that was, obviously that was great for us. And it was good. We could go to places like, say, Japan or San Francisco, and they associated us with that scene. And there's little pockets of, there was like a lot of fans of the music scene, the British music scene, in places like that, even Germany and stuff like that. So, it was good. We'd sort of go somewhere and you'd have fans like straight away just because you were kind of associated with that. So, and I guess, things like we had the same producer as Oasis, Owen Morris. So there's elements of, kind of sonically, say a record like 1977 was made pretty close to, what's it called? What's Story Morning Glory? It was made, very, same studio, same producer, mixed at the same place. And, so there's, just kind of things that are kind of close in sound to that. Even though we obviously had some, bunch of different influences.
Well, you mentioned Owen Morris. Owen was responsible for some of the best music. He produced some of the best albums from the 90s, as you say, the Oasis albums, your albums, The Verve.
Yeah.
And I've seen interviews with Owen. He seems a bit of a character. What's it like working with him?
Oh, yeah, he was mad. There's like a lot of partying involved and a lot of chaos, a lot of like drama as well. Like, I don't know, he'd just walk out of the studio sometimes and say, okay, that's it. And then we'd have to coax him back, and like 2 days later he'd be back. He'd do a lot of stuff just for fun or just for the ridiculousness of it. Like send us into town to a charity shop and make us all buy like dresses and wear them. We'd do stuff like we'd always record a vibe track, which is just us standing around a microphone, pointing our fingers and sending a vibe into the song. And there was just like daft stuff like that. But I think it sort of added to everything. But he was also engineering the whole thing. He was like a bit of a machine, I think that's why he burned himself out a bit, because he was kind of doing everything. But he's really good with songs and song arrangements, and that was especially great for us being a new band. Like he taught us a lot about, I guess, a lot of rules and tricks that we kind of follow to this day. And he was great. When he was really into something, he got really excited. The buzz was brilliant. So yeah, it would kind of veer from massive confidence to this is absolutely terrible. And yeah, there was big mood swings involved, but, yeah, anyway, he's definitely like such a talented guy and really good fun as well.
Yeah, I suppose, he's your first big producer he's worked with. You probably didn't know any better. You probably thought, well, this is the way it is.
Yeah,
this is how
exactly.
Records are produced.
Yeah, we'd worked with one guy, Mark Waterman, and that was when we made Trailer, and we had I think we had a week to make that, and that was, we'd only ever been in a small studio in Strangford with this guy, Ray Valentine, who, and that was just we were on recording in those days with our pocket money, so we wouldn't have much studio time. We would just like smash things out. Yeah, and then so doing Trailer we had a bit more time, and we were learning some of the ropes, but Owen, we had we'd have, say, I think we did a few singles with him where we'd have like 3 or 4 days to do a single. And that was a real luxury. And then with 1977, we had like a couple of months. So, he taught us so much.
After all the pressure of going in to write For All the Angels, it turned out the album was a smash hit. It reached number 1 in the UK and has since become a platinum record. How much of a relief was that? Oh,
massive. Yeah, because we were like on the verge of being pretty broke, and we were on the verge of being dropped. Yeah, I guess there was no guarantees it was going to come back and be a success. And I do remember, I think at the time, it was all just very mainstream manufactured pop was doing really well as well. So it was kind of tricky to get guitar music in there on the radio and things like that. But it's massive relief. We made a tour documentary for 1977, and we spent a fortune kind of filming it, editing it. And then we never put it out, but it left us quite broke. And so yeah, it was a big relief.
So will the documentary ever see the light of day, do you think?
I kind of did, yeah. It came out as part of, we put out a best of on Warner's like about 10 or 12 years ago, and it came out as a second disc of that. But, that wasn't like the best promoted thing. So, but if you can find it, it's pretty entertaining. We should do a proper release of it someday.
Was that Intergalactic Sonic Sevens?
No, it was like just I think it was just called Best of Ash. It was one like, maybe 10 years after that or 7 years after that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it can be found. It's we should even just get on YouTube or something. It is good.
Yeah, definitely. It has to happen.
Yeah.
Where did the title Free All Angels come from?
Oh, we had some Hell's Angels on tour with us actually, and they were doing security, and also like I think they had a barrier company for the barrier, at the front of the shows, and they were like manning the sort of pits, the security, down in the pit. And they were really good at like making sure there was a lot of crowd surfing in those days. So they were like just brilliant at like scooping all these teenagers up and help getting them safely out. And, so, one of them one day was walking around with Real Angels on his t-shirt, and it was referencing to getting the angels out of jail. And I don't know, I just thought, that's such a poetic thing for like such a tough guy to be walking around with, just the angels element of it. If you don't know the full context of it, I was just like, I just thought that was a great title, so I liked it.
Well, let's talk about some of the songs. Shining Light was the album's lead single. It won an Ivor Novello award, which was well deserved. What went through your head when your name was called out for, the award? I
was amazed. It's like, I can't remember who the competition was, but, we weren't like I guess it was a number one album and all that, but we weren't major label bands. We were still on an indie label, and I don't know, you sort of don't expect to sort of get the awards. So I think it just kind of showed that it was like, I guess the committee thought it was a really standout song, and it was sort of vindication of like, it meant people could see the craft in it. Like I'd worked really hard on, writing it, and I was really proud of the lyrics, and so yeah, it was kind of the kind of award I dreamed of getting. That's for the songwriting. That's I really liked getting the recognition for that. I felt really proud.
Yeah, there's definitely no better honor for a songwriter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the NME single of the year was "Burn Baby Burn."
Yeah, it was a good year for awards. yeah. I think we might have won a Q award for Burn Baby Burn as well, possibly. We might have got a couple of singles of the year. And then Burn Baby Burn was also the first song on Six Music as well. So, and yeah, it's cool. Like, Burn Baby Burn that track had started as on Nuclear Sounds. It had a different chorus, and we'd recorded it, but we never really finished it for the album because it just wasn't great. The chorus wasn't that good, but I sort of revisited it. And when we were writing Real Angels, and I was like, and I was like, oh, this chorus is good. And it sort of, I think the fact that I'd worked quite hard on it and it had been around for a long time, I wasn't excited about it, like say the same way I was about Shining Light. Shining Light was completely fresh, and Burn Baby Burn had been kind of around for a while. So I was a bit surprised by the success of it. Also it's a bit more of a rock song, and, it's just how well it did. It did way better than I expected, basically, that track, and, but it's been an amazing live favorite ever since as well.
And the video was great too.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I think we filmed it in like Croydon or somewhere, but, it looked very American,
And further singles were released from the album. There was Sometimes, There's a Star, Candy, and Walking Barefoot. Looking back in the track list on the record, it's full of classics. Which song means the most to you?
I think Shining Light, because that was a real comeback. If we hadn't had that one, maybe the album might have done all right. But that sort of solidified. I don't know. That was really big, and also it's been covered. Winning the awards and being covered by Annie Lennox and stuff like that was, that was just amazing.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, a friend of mine was in a charity shop a couple months ago, and he was like, "What is this?" He sent me a voice note of him like standing in his shop, going, "What is this? This is amazing!" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that came out about 10 years ago." But yeah, I was still psyched.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And Ash will play a run of very special UK live dates to celebrate the 21st anniversary of Free All Angels. And you will be reunited with your fourth member, guitarist Charlotte Hatherley, to perform the album in full. So how excited are you to be performing the songs with Charlotte again? And when did you ask her?
Oh, that's great. I guess, yeah, as soon as before we put it on sale, you know, we wanted to do the tour, and I was like, I wouldn't have wanted to do it if she couldn't have done it. You know, sort of, it just wouldn't sound the same. It would, you know, it just wouldn't do the album justice. So yeah, we called her and she was on board. So once she was on board, we were like, okay, great. We'll go for it. So yeah, that's very exciting. Like, every now and again, like when we play London, you know, sometimes she'll get up and do a few songs with us, and it's great. You know, it's always amazing. So I can't wait to do a full show with her. And, yeah, it's good. It's just a shame it's not a very long tour. It's only 3 shows, but it just kind of had to work out that way, I think, because we would we would have liked to have gone to Scotland and Ireland with it, but we had festivals that kind of were too close to it in Scotland, for example, so we couldn't do it. And I'm also doing, we want to do a big 30th anniversary gig in Northern Ireland, so we're doing that at Christmas at the Ulster Hall. So that's going to be a whole different thing, and that's going to be great too.
Yes, I was actually going to get on to that there.
Yeah.
This December, I'm sure I know you have. You played the Ulster Hall many times over the years. So how much are you looking forward to that there? What sort of, is it going to be just all hits, basically? Yeah. And hopefully some guests as well. We're working on that. So, you know, we definitely want to make it a big event show. And yeah, I think it's a good chance to look back at the whole history. And I don't know, I wonder, should we do it chronologically? I don't know. It's a couple of months away, so we haven't got it all figured out, but I think it's going to be a great occasion. Like, the Ulster Hall is it's our favourite venue in Northern Ireland, so it's an amazing place. You just feel like, I don't know, it just feels like a real event when you're playing there. Are you still living in America? Do you get time to get home much?
Actually, I moved to London in 2020, so yeah, I've been back in London for a while, but yeah, I was in New York 14, 15 years, but yeah, I do. I get back to Northern Ireland a load, like at least every month, pretty much.
And you're going to be performing Free All the Angels, as I said, in its entirety. Is there an album by any artist or band that you would like to see performed in its entirety?
Yeah. Well, actually, I saw Van Morrison do Astral Weeks in full in New York. That was amazing. So I guess I'm lucky. I got to see that. So that would have been my dream one. And I saw Weezer do both the Blue Album and Pinkerton. So yeah, those are a couple other great ones. I'm sure there's a bunch of others. Maybe like Television doing Marky Moon or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a good one now. And Van Morrison, I'd love to see him doing Astral Weeks. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of my favorite.
It's cool. Yeah, he had some of the musicians he played on the original session as well up with him. So that was really cool.
Apart from Free All the Angels, if you were to recommend one of your albums to someone who'd never heard Ash before, what album would you choose to start with?
Well, probably 1977, because it's got stuff like Girl from Mars and Kung Fu. Oh yeah, Goldfinger. Yeah, I think, that album really defined us. So yeah, I guess the starting points would be 1977 and Free All Angels, I guess. But if you're a more rock inclined person, Meltdown would probably be a good one as well.
Or a Girl from Mars.
Yeah.
can be known.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that rumor has gone around for a while.
Ice have achieved incredible success since you formed in the early 90s with 7 studio album releases, a run of 13 top 40 singles, such as Girl from Mars, Goldfinger, and Oh Yeah. If you were to go back and relive one musical moment from your career, what would it be?
Whoa. Just, could it be a live show or something?
Anything you want.
Yeah. Maybe Reading 1996. I would like to go back to that gig, and, I'd like to redo it if the monitors weren't feeding back as much. And I don't know, it was kind of a great gig that I didn't enjoy as much as I should have. It's probably like the moment where the band was the hottest. And, also I think we'd been building up to it for months, you know, like we were so excited about it. And I think I was almost like too excited. So I'd love just to go back and experience that again and in a different way. But yeah, it was amazing too.
The last album you released was Islands in 2018. You're in the studio now. Are there any plans for a new album soon?
Yeah. We're kind of working on two simultaneously. They're one's like quite a rock record and the other's kind of, I don't know how to put it. It's sort of more like a synth led kind of thing. And, so yeah, kind of working on both of those at the minute. We had been thinking of making one that was really diverse, you know, but it just felt maybe it didn't sit together properly. So yeah, so we're like doubling down at the minute.
So when can we maybe hear something new?
Well, I probably would imagine one of them should at least come out just around summer next year, but maybe, you know, we might even get some singles out before. So yeah. So hopefully get some stuff finished soon.
Well, Ash recently released an anniversary edition of your classic album 1977. Now, I don't know whether you've seen this or heard about this, but did you know your hit single Goldfinger from the album was named the greatest UK chord sequence of the 1990s on the James Hargreaves podcast?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. And that was cool. I was like, hey, somebody noticed, you know, because I just like, okay, I 100% agree with that. You know, it's, well, you know, in my own quiet way, I'm dead proud of that. You know, I know it's a kind of a chord sequence. Like, yeah, it's like a kind of like a chord sequence that just kind of came out of nowhere for me. And I was like, whoa, it just felt like this is absolutely mad. But, as I was kind of writing it, it just kind of emerged and I was like, oh, this is quite complicated and bizarre, but it kind of works. So yeah, it's nice that somebody noticed, you know.
I like to ask my guests the following questions. For us music fans, music is the soundtrack of our memories. What song or album, when you listen to it, brings back the best memories for you?
I guess there's some stuff from like the early 90s that, you know, really takes me right back. Like Going Blank Again by Ride. That's one of my favorite albums from like,
Really?
I think it was 92, I think.
Yeah.
Really loved that. And I guess, yeah, Pixies and Nirvana and Teenage Fan Club, Bandwagon-esque album. But yeah. And then some like, even Crowded House, like some of their, you know, Weber With You, you know, remember that? Like, this really reminds me of being like 15 and, stuff like that. Yeah.
Going Blank Again, you know, Leave Them All Behind, you know, love that track.
Absolutely.
You know, Bandwagon-esque, Teenage Fan Club, absolute classic. And yeah, Crowded House, you know, round about then it was
Woodface.
Woodface, one of my favourite albums of all time. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, and then what's the follow up? It's got Distant Sun on it. Yeah, that's got a real vibe too. Yeah. And it's amazing songwriting.
Yeah, absolutely. Out of all the music in your collection, which artist or band do you have the most albums by?
Probably Thin Lizzy, I think. Or the Rolling Stones. Yeah, Thin Lizzy cranked out the albums and they're all, you know, I love them. Yeah. Yeah. And they're all like, they went, I don't know, such a journey of Thin Lizzy, you know, it's like quite, veers from almost like folky psychedelia to metal, you know, with some of the best hard rock ever written right in between, you know. Last
one for you, Tim. Which song or album is your guilty pleasure?
I guess it's ABBA, probably, you know, that's, you know, they would have been considered a guilty pleasure, but I guess, you know, they do have a lot of cool points these days, so it's not as guilty as it used to be, but, you know, kind of grew up listening to them in the car. I guess in the family car, that was like something that we could all listen to and everyone would enjoy. Like if I put the Smiths on, like my dad couldn't stand Morrissey's voice, you know, so it's after a while he'd get like pretty annoyed with that. So, ABBA was a good one for everybody.
Yeah. A lot of people say ABBA, actually.
Yeah. So I guess it's not so guilty, but yeah, great classic stuff.
What's next in the immediate future for you and the band, Tim?
So we've got this tour coming up with Charlotte, so that's going to be brilliant fun. Then I think we've got, we're doing this Spirit of NI Awards in Northern Ireland. That's coming up soon. That's kind of like an awards that recognizes people from just everyday life who make difference in the community. So that's going to be a cool thing to do. And we're doing a Shine On festival at Butlins in Minehead in November. And then our 30th anniversary gig. And, and then after that, hopefully it's like, I don't know, the anniversaries have been amazing, but I think it's going to be nice to get back to, some brand new material and getting out with focusing on the here and now. So I think next year will be more about that. So looking forward to that.
Good. Well, I'll look forward to hearing that when it comes out, and I'll be at the Ulster Hall.
Oh, amazing. Brilliant. Can't wait.
So,
gonna make it an epic night. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks. Always great talking to you, Tim.
You too.
Much appreciated. All right. Well, mate, have a nice day. All right.
All right. Cheers, Mark. Thanks a million.
Right, Tim.
All the best. Nice one.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.